pull up on you, then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That just might work, ayy. When I pull up on you, then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That just might work, ayy. That just might work.
Welcome back to another episode of the Michel Matters podcast. I'm Jacques Michel.
And I'm Jackie Michel.
Welcome back.
Hey, guys.
Episode
100.
Let's go. Man, we are so excited to finally reach this milestone.
Yeah.
100 episodes.
Yeah. Because we could have gave up after like 20.
Definitely. Definitely. I was good after the first 25.
Yeah.
I kept saying the whole first year, like, I was surprised that people were listening.
Yeah.
And to think that we made it all the way to 100 episodes is crazy considering, like, where we came from. Not like it's like a rags to riches story, but...
we still ain't nobody.
Yeah.
But...
I mean, let's keep it 100.
Okay.
I felt like I had to do it.
Okay.
I had to do it for the 100th episode. Man, this was cool. This was cool. We made it.
Yeah. How should we intro this? Like,
I'm not sure. This is kind of like a wrap up and like look forward into the new year.
Yeah.
And just the future of Michel Matters.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I'll start off by saying 2021 was a doozy. That thing...
trash.
Yeah, they could have kept this one. I don't know what happened, how we ended up with this version, but I thought like 2020 was bad, but I feel like 2021 was just...
it was like the cherry on top.
Yeah.
You know, like those terrible cherries they put on top of some,
the bright red one.
So imagine you have like a rotten banana on the bottom, and then you have an ice cream flavor that you don't like your strawberry ice cream. Like, who eats that, right? And then like expired whipped cream. And 2021 was like that fake cherry that they put on top of that. So you just have a terrible sundae, you know?
Yeah, it was buns. But I feel, I don't want to be too optimistic about 2022 because I feel like that's how I felt coming into 2021.
Yeah.
And anytime you think like it couldn't get worse,
it can.
It could, bruh. It really could.
Yeah.
So I'm cautiously optimistic about the new year, just in general. But I can say I am optimistic about the podcast and where it's going.
Yeah,
and where it's not going.
You're right. Right. Yeah. I think we should start off with like some lessons that we've learned.
100 episodes in.
Yeah. What creating this thing.
Yeah. What have you learned 100 episodes in?
I think I learned that even though it's fun, we still have to be disciplined.
Yeah.
So like when we say, okay, we want this to come out on this day, that means we should probably record, knowing us, probably like 2 weeks in advance, because it's just not going to get done if we don't, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah. So even though it's like a hobby, it's not work, but you got to put some work into it.
You do. You got to put a little something into it.
Yeah.
I'll say, to double back on what you said, the whole like, it's fun, but it has to be disciplined. It just kind of feels counterintuitive. Like, that's usually what's good about the things that are fun for you is that, you know, ain't no pressure, but
sure.
Once we start saying like, oh, this is going to come out every 2 weeks, it changes things. And I think at one point for me, it started to feel like a job.
Yeah.
And I was like completely against that. I was super like, hey man, if it don't come out today, it don't come out today. Because I don't want it to become a burden for us. But I think there are ways we can do it to make it less of a burden.
Yeah.
But that's on us to figure out. But that is 1000% a lesson learned.
Yeah.
From the first 100 episodes.
Yeah.
I think for me, the big one that comes out is equipment matters. From everything from lighting, mics, cameras, all that stuff matters when you're trying to like do it right.
Yeah.
Cause it's one thing to do it, and I'm big on like, I want the audio to sound good.
Crisp.
You know what I mean? I want the video to like be clear and whatever. So yeah, I think, little by little we've done things like, we got ring lights, we got better microphones. It's all like upgraded little by little, but I mean, we even like, part of one of the home renovations we did was about the podcast. Like the
Not
background.
really, but yeah.
Nah, that was kind of the point. We were trying to low key build a set-ish. Like,
yes,
we were thinking of ways to build the sound. Like, all right, let's just repurpose this wall, and it turned into like, oh well, let's paint the other wall and yada yada. So,
yeah, make it match.
Yeah, so it was all for the betterment of the podcast. Because that's what we want to do. We want to increase the value of the product. And I definitely feel like that was something that we learned. Like, yeah, man, it's hard to fix audio in post. Like, you can mess with some stuff, but like, if the sound capture at the beginning when you record it isn't great, hey man, it's only so much, so many filters and band-aids you can put on it. And that even goes to like, okay, this is another lesson learned, and this is gonna lead into something that I commend Jackie on. So
me,
yeah. So first thing is, Zoom interviews suck, but they're also great at the same time, right? They suck to me because audio quality isn't as good. The video quality is spotty, right? Yeah. But at the same time, it allowed us to interview people we would never be able to get in person.
That's true.
And during pandemic, when we couldn't, gather, we still were able to have like people on and have great conversations. Yeah. But yeah. So that's just another lesson learned.
That might still be a thing. We just have to figure out how to get the best quality on Zoom.
I've even seen, and this may be like a little behind the scenes information, but like certain podcasts and places. Okay, so a good example is like Versus, right? When Versus first started, they were doing like the Instagram lives, right? But it was basically all with whatever you got, use it, and whatever that like. It got to the point where they started sending them like kits, like, okay, if you're gonna be on Versus, you have to use this. And it increased the audio value. Of course. We can't do that. Yeah. But
that's why I'm like, where are you going with this?
Nah, but I'm saying it's something like to discuss beforehand. Yes. From now on, I was like, hey man, if you can get a USB mic or something, like anything to enhance the value of the product. Correct. But yeah. Yeah. Little things.
I think another thing was just working together on this. I think we're a good team. I've just never worked with you on anything long lasting like that. I mean, besides our relationship, but that's not like, like something that we're actually, okay, this is my piece. This is your piece. And I need you to like email me this information so I can do my, them coworkers who don't really be sending the emails on time. And then you just realize, oh, that's my husband. So working together.
Oh, thank goodness it's not on video.
Working together has been interesting. And it also requires breaks. So I think it was good that, I don't know how these people come out with podcasts, like 3 times a week? Yeah. Or even every week. Yeah. Because but
a lot of those people deal more with like current events. Sure. So it's easy. There's always new content when you do current events.
But you're still working together and feeding off of each other and like keeping the conversation going. I mean, that part is fine. It's just the aftermath. Like, okay, we need to edit this, or we need to, I need my piece. And if you, consistently remind somebody like all the time, it's like, okay, what's happening here? Like, what can we do to make this process, to streamline this process so it's just easy for everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been interesting working with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it has. I just feel like, I don't know. I got comfortable. We got comfortable, whatever. Or we definitely have very different working styles, and it showed in this, right?
What's that?
Like, you are very much a person who will, you do all your tasks, and you're the person who sends like the petty emails when someone doesn't do their part.
Yeah.
Right. But rather than like,
as per my previous email 2 weeks ago, it's still not done.
But I'm the coworker who feels like, can someone please send me a list of my duties and my responsibilities? Because I feel like I'm being judged on stuff that I didn't even know was like part of my job title. You feel me? It was just not clear from the beginning everything that had to happen.
Okay.
So
it's clear now.
We've had the fact that we have to have like, we already have finance meetings. We already have like regular, just couple
life
problems.
Stuff. Yeah.
And then we have to have like business meetings about the podcast. I was like,
it's not really business meetings.
We had to have one because that was the problem. We weren't having meetings.
That's true.
So now we need to have meetings.
We would just have a meeting before we record.
And yeah, and it's like, bro. So then I found out like, nah, dang, she been like having issues with me as a coworker that I didn't even know existed.
Mm-hmm. And
it's like, because we don't talk about the podcast. We just, all right, man, you want to record? Yeah, let's record. And it's like, oh, put some notes in. All right, I'll put some notes in.
Right.
And it's not really like collaboration in that way.
Mm.
But I feel like now we kind of, this is one of the things I'm looking forward to in 2022. I think we headed in the right path.
I think so too.
But yeah, that was definitely a lesson learned.
Yeah. Yeah. I think another thing, and probably like the major thing, is that we're both creative people in our own right, even though you don't say that.
Carry on.
But I think we have a lot of gifts. Like if you really put your mind to it, you could do it. And that's just, I guess that's for everybody who actually wants to do something. But we never thought, oh yeah, let's like actually do this for real. We were just like, let's just do a podcast.
Yeah.
But we didn't know what we were doing.
No clue.
You learned how to edit as we went along.
Yep.
So, yeah, I just realized that we could do whatever.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
That is a big one. And I'm proud of what we done in our 100 episodes.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for time, man, I feel like there's just so much more we would like to do or want to do. For sure. But we're not there yet. But I like where we're going. I do. I really do. Yeah.
All right. You want to talk about some favorite episodes?
That's so hard. Because we've been doing this, 4 years now?
Yeah.
One, we've gotten so much better. In just like, I feel like we ran through a lot of our early topics before we were good at podcasting or better at podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for me, I really liked having on other people and being able to like ask them questions.
Yeah.
That's something I personally really like to do. I like to ask people questions. And I don't know. That's just a personal thing of mine. Like, I would love to just one-on-ones, Barbara Walters style, quote unquote Charlemagne style, just like interview people. So I think those are my favorite. And shout out to you. I kind of mentioned it when I talked about the Zoom, or I was alluding to it when we were talking about the Zoom. You did a great job of setting up interviews this past year. Mm. Like, you used to say, like, man, shoot. Like, Jackie is a shooter. And some of them are just like shots that I wouldn't even consider taking, or I wouldn't think of. Like, she would like find somebody on like YouTube or Instagram, like, hey, do you want to be on the podcast? Yeah. And I was like, that was dope. Like, Mama My Mom was a great podcast.
That's true. Yeah.
I would have never considered having her on. Even if I would have seen her, I wouldn't have think like, man, let me try to get her on the podcast. And then there was one of the episodes I'm like also super proud of was the episode with Carrie Ann. Yeah. Because that's when it felt like, oh, snap. Like,
she could be a commission.
Yeah, like, and to some people that's like a small step, but to me that's like, okay, that's like legit interviewing when you're talking about politicians. Yeah. I was like, oh no, we doing something. Yeah. So yeah.
And just even like what goes on behind the scenes to even run for something like that.
Yeah. So that was cool. And the helpful ones like Eat Well Exchange, talking about food, or like Joy talking about taxes. Tax season, I feel like we touched some like really important topics that, you know, I'd love for other people to hear. And that's what the podcasting is about, especially for people like, I mean, Joy's just not running around telling tax stuff, or right. Eat Well Exchange is always teaching people, but yeah, it's like getting a lot of information out there, and we're not hoarding information. Right. And I love that.
I think two of my favorites, and they kind of were like part 1 and 2, was Act Like a Lady and Think Like a Man. That was episode 54 and 55, when we had our friends on the podcast, and they were talking about their dating experiences, and it's interesting to see like where they are now. And what was that, like a year ago? I don't remember. If it was 54, then yeah, that was pre-COVID.
That's year 3.
So yeah,
2019.
I think that episode had a lot of engagement, just because people always talk about dating, and I think we just live in a different time now with dating. So yeah, and I think because I didn't like have to shoot to get them on the podcast. They're our friends. So I think just having people that's legit in our community, I love that. Yeah. Just like we had the Saps on earlier on. We had my cousin and his wife on. We had Judy on. Yeah. The Mayones. So like people who are actually in our life. Yeah. On a day-to-day basis. That's cool too.
Yeah. Especially going back to like the dating one. That was fun because that's also one of those topics that I think people are like still very interested in. You know, it's
and that we don't know about.
Yeah, and it's something that I don't claim to be some type of guru in. Like, right. I'm not writing a book about singles, and I've been married for like too soon. All right, fine. But either way, that one was great, and I would love to redo that, see where everybody is now, and even like mash it up like the guys and the girls at once. So, you know.
Oh yeah, that would maybe not.
I'm with it. If we gotta replace people, we gotta replace people. But I want to do it again. That was a really fun episode. Yeah. Me listening on the girls chat, you were in on the guys. Yeah. That was cool. I really liked that.
Yeah, that was cool. And then I really liked the episodes with just us, when we were actually just talking about a topic, but it was like current in our life. And y'all just didn't know. Yeah. Or maybe you did. I think we've made it pretty evident this year, certain topics that were current, like the deconstruction. Yeah. What else?
I don't know, but we used to get into it. Like, yeah, like I think we had a episode about like
even the Big Leap was low key something current. High key, yeah, high key. Because I mean, I was reading the book and I just resonated with it, and it's what I was going through. Yeah.
We were like when we were like really struggling about like just couple arguments. I don't even need to go into it. Like we would come on the podcast and talk about stuff, and it would be moments like, oh no, she that's at me. Like, yep. And I was like, oh no, I'm finna and then we'll go into it. I was like, but it did lead to like real good conversations
outside
of
the podcast.
Yeah. So those are cool, and I appreciate all that, man. That was really good. Thank you to all the guests that we've had on. Yes. If we didn't mention you by name, but we definitely appreciate all of you. Man, I'm gonna keep saying it. It's 100 episodes, man. I didn't think I was gonna be here. You know, they told me I wasn't gonna make it past 50. You feel me?
That's what they told you?
That's what they told me.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what's next?
Ooh, what is next? Well, 2022 is next.
Yeah.
It is a brand new year, and I think we are gonna do more of the same and less of the same. Like,
okay, so before you get into
all right, my bad.
Because I feel like you about to just jump in. And okay.
Let them have it. Come on, man.
So we mentioned on a previous episode, that was a Big Leap episode, with Rebecca, that we helped her in her audiobook.
Yeah.
And that was something that we had never done, never considered, but she just reached out to us and she was like, hey, I know you guys work with mics. You guys do a podcast. I'm thinking of doing an audiobook to go with volume 3. What do you think? So I'm thinking, all right, I guess, let me just see what Jocks thinks, because he would be the one editing it. So
yeah.
I'm just thinking it's a favor for a friend. And you were really invested in it, I think.
I get
because you wanted to make the sound quality audio. What is it? Audible, official, and all this stuff. And yeah. So we worked on that project and it was good. I handled basically working with her and getting all the elements together for the audiobook, and then Jocks was on the back end editing, trying to figure out what's the best platform for her to use, how to transfer files, all that stuff. And that was a cool experience.
It was.
And I feel like I wouldn't mind working on more projects like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind, especially the way we had it set up.
Mm-hmm.
So because that is a time commitment, and you have a more flexible schedule to record people, and editing could happen whenever. As long as I get the basics, you tell me what you want, I can kind of edit it as necessary. But that definitely worked. You tracking and me editing, I was like, okay, I could do more of that. Yeah. Could I have done both? No.
No.
Could I host someone's podcast here? I don't know if I'm ready for that, but those are the type of things that I think about. Yeah. But yeah, if you're gonna do this as an audio podcast, yeah, I could probably help. Consulting services, all of that. I do all of that. You feel me? Link in bio. But
okay.
But yeah, that's definitely something that if you are interested in, I want to be cautious though, because
we're not gonna take all.
It can be a lot.
Yeah.
There's helping and then there's doing. That there's a gap there. Yeah. There's a gap there.
Exactly. And it has to be something that we would want to be a part of,
or put our name to. It doesn't matter. Yeah,
that we think is cool.
I'm cool on just hey man, Michel Matter Studios. If you want to record a podcast, audio only, maybe. I don't know. All that has to be determined.
Yes,
but it's an option. We're willing to talk.
Yeah,
you want to have
there
a conversation, we will talk about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm becoming more and more open to the idea.
I think so, and you're good at it.
Time.
Just say thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, another thing is a change with the podcast.
Okay, which change are you talking about? Because I feel like there's multiple changes.
There are multiple changes. Going seasonal.
Yes.
So we are not doing the podcast all year, at least not the Michel Matters podcast.
Yeah.
We are still figuring out how often to put out the podcast, but it will be definitely within the first 6 months is when you'll hear the Michel Matters podcast.
We're working on the schedule. It's a work in progress. In the beginning, for sure, you hear us, but
it's because...
Okay, there you go. Get into it.
We're adding 2 more podcasts.
Yes.
to, I guess, what you could call the Michel Matters Podcast Network.
Yeah,
Michel Matters Network.
Yeah.
Michel Matters Group. I don't know how you want to phrase it. But yeah, so you'll hear us for the first 6 months, but then, or however Joss is thinking. But then you'll hear 2 other podcasts.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to get into.
Yeah. So a glimpse of it is going to be very Michel Mattery. It's going to be me and my brother. It's going to be called the My Brother and Me podcast. A subset of the Michel Matters podcast. Working on the name and all that still, but that's where we're heading. Yeah. And as far as like what we'll cover, not sure yet. There's going to be a lot of current topics, hot topics, probably sports, music, guy stuff, We're going to get into it, and I'm really excited about that. If you guys heard the conversation me and my brother have off mic, you would understand. But we'll give you the most safe version on the podcast that we can. Yeah. But it's going to be
keep it safe. And then the other podcast will be me and Judy, my sister, and it'll be called I'ma Stop You Right There. So our conversations
Sounds
are also
Sounds very sassy.
Also very interesting. So we'll see how we break it up, which podcast will come out first, which episodes, how many episodes, but just stay tuned. And I mean, we're going to talk about it all. Women things. Maybe she'll get into parenting. Maybe we'll talk about, just the things that Jocks probably doesn't want to talk about on the podcast with me.
All true. Yeah. Because, I'm not into I feel like you guys could get into some great gossipy talk. Not gossipy, but current events, but the current events that I wouldn't want to talk about.
Yeah, but we'd probably switch it into we'll turn it into what's going on in our life too. Make it relatable.
Yeah. Because I do miss that a little bit from our podcast. Like when we used to do the current matter. Because it gives us just more topics to talk about.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I like about us, expanding, what we do, because we're going to burn each other out, just running through topics ourselves. Some of these topics are layups. Oh man, you guys just put it out there on a platter for us and we could talk about it for hours or whatever.
Right.
So I definitely like that. And it's something that I'll definitely incorporate into My Brother and Me podcast, because I think, interesting perspectives. It's not going to be
different generations.
Yeah, it's not going to, we're not going to be spilling tea or nothing, but, we'll use guy brain on some of the topics of the day. All right, just an example, right? I don't know if you guys have seen or heard the whole situation with Justine Skye and Giveon. My guy brain talking about what he must have been going through as he got caught cheating. Not that I've ever been caught cheating, but I have a guy brain.
Have you ever cheated?
No, Jen.
You gotta cheat to get caught cheating.
See, and that's why I need to talk about these concepts with my brother. Because Jackie doing stuff like that. And her woman brain won't allow her to go through the hypothetical asking weird questions like that. And first of all, even if I did cheat, you think I'm on the podcast as we're recording.
No, I know, but I just wanted you to clarify.
I got you.
Yeah. So I'm excited. They are willing and they are excited as well to be a part of the podcast. And I feel like maybe the Michel Matters podcast will be more interviewing, interview heavy, guest heavy.
Yeah.
We'll still do our own episodes, but I think it's really cool to just get other people on, and people actually want to be on. People have contacted you and they want to talk about, whatever, their families and how they structure co-parenting or whatever. So yeah, we'll get into some of that and different topics that we haven't touched on, Yeah. I think the other thing that has just been I guess this has not been trashed this year. It's like the only thing that hasn't been trashed is Bear Reverie.
Yeah.
And its growth. And I don't know what's to come, but I am.
But you was on it this year. I was. 2-time grant winner.
Yep.
Let's talk about it.
Yep. New collection that sold out.
Let's go.
New collection about to drop.
Let's go.
So yeah.
Matter of fact, let's go. Come on, man.
I'm working on the news. Made it to NBC. Yeah.
Got influencers, but come on, let's go.
Really? So it's working, you know, like I'm working out here.
Yeah.
It just looks different.
Yeah.
So every day that I feel like I'm not working, I have to tell myself, but this is work now. Mm-hmm. This is work to you. And so this is the, I guess, other side of taking that leap. And so I'm going full force. I'm going to do it. Putting myself out there. So y'all just stay tuned.
Yeah.
New collections dropping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working.
Yeah. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I really am. And I'll be back in my 9 to 5. See y'all January 4th.
Well, I mean, the other thing that we're going to work on together too is getting into real estate.
Yes.
Finally.
Yeah. That is the plan.
That's the plan.
But anyway, that's
how it pans out. We'll see.
Yeah, but I would love to not walk y'all through the whole process, but give updates on where things are going, and if we do have a property at some point. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some landlord tales that will need to be told.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But
sure.
Yeah, I'm excited about that part of the process. Mm-hmm. How much I divulge, I guess, will depend.
We'll see. Yeah.
I don't like talking to y'all too much about money. But
and we don't have to talk about the money side.
You're right.
And then we can bring on our friends who are actually in real estate and
Yeah.
But yes, the Michel Matters group is officially a thing. So it is happening.
LLC filed.
That's right. It's a thing. Do you have any updates on Top Dogs? Any plans and wishes?
We back at it again, 2022. I'm excited for this season coming up. I think we have broadened a little bit our talent pool, with, just the coaches that we're bringing in and the connections that we have. I'm excited. Like last year was the first year where we did our first out of town trip. I expect to do more of that this year. And I'm just trying to higher competition, higher level of play. Like we got better from the first season to the second season. I just want to make another jump and, start coming for the big dogs little by little. 'Cause we are the top dogs. But yeah, it's, and if anyone is looking to donate, hey man, I promise you, we don't steal any of the money. We don't do nothing crazy. I can show you the financials. I won't, but I can. You just gotta trust me. This money is going to the kids, man. Everything that we don't take a cut from any of it. We reinvest it into the youth. So I think maybe in 2 years we'll have our first group that's like going to college and stuff like that. Like those are the things that we're moving towards. I have so many plans and ideas for that. Things that I would like to do to educate them and, just put them in good situations. So if you are looking to donate, just let me know. I can tell you in ways that you can help. Cause I know some people don't always like to just give money.
Yeah.
I can tell you things that you can sponsor, whether it be uniforms, equipment. Just get at me and, I'll get you plugged in.
Nice. Yeah. I think, I guess to wrap it up, the other thing is just like this year, I want to be intentional about like spending time with people, family and friends. And I'm not saying I'm going to go to every birthday function, but I want to.
Yeah.
Even if I don't, I want to. Like just being there with the people and even like serving in the community. That's something that we've definitely talked about doing more of. And I know that you have a heart for that. So yeah. It's going to be interesting. We don't know what 22 has in store.
No.
So there it is. And we like to take our breaks.
Yeah.
So I don't know when y'all gonna hear from us again, but y'all gonna
but
we'll surprise y'all.
But you're gonna get the 25 episodes. It's gonna be all different mixed match of what podcasts and what, but you're gonna get the episodes. We're gonna get the content. I am really looking forward to it. Honestly, if I could get my brother and me started like tomorrow, I would. I won't, but I would. But definitely be on the lookout. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy what we have coming. Thank you. 100 episodes.
Yes. Thanks for listening.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Mama, we made it. They said we wouldn't make it to 100 and we did.
Yeah. Wasn't supposed to make it past 25.
All right, you guys. Another episode in the books.
Bye.
When I pull up on you, then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That you might work, ayy. When I pull up on you, then I might swear, ayy. Double off deuce, ayy. That you might work, ayy. That you might work. That you might work.